This is another grappling trend that needs to die a death.
What the hell is even that?
Here's why. Just because you move your feet like this, initiating a deadlift type movement on the mats, doesn't mean you need to do it in the weight room when you are deadlifting. If you were to ask these grapplers why they execute their deadlifts in this manner, the response will probably be because it's more specific. And by more specific, they mean more realistic. The feet do this in wrestling, so if the feet do this when we deadlift, it's going to transfer that much better to wrestling performance. So okay, let's take this logical argument to its conclusion. What would be even more specific than lifting a barbell? We don't see barbells on the mats. Of course, the answer would be lifting a resisting opponent, which begs the question, why are you even deadlifting in the first place if specificity is so important? And the answer is because we subconsciously accept the fact that the sport alone is not going to be sufficient to optimally develop wrestling or grappling performance. For whatever reason, just practicing or competing in the sport isn't going to be sufficient for developing the qualities that we know are important for being a great grappler: speed, strength, power, flexibility, and so on. Maybe the load of the opponent isn't enough. Maybe the work to rest ratio of the sport is too intense. Maybe the fact that you're having to time and adjust movements in response to your opponent means that you can't move with 100% speed and effort and intent. So when we select exercises that don't look like the sport, we can really focus on putting up the load that much higher than an opponent we might face on the mats. We can rest enough to really increase how much force we put into the bar. Or we can just concentrate on lifting rather than sequencing and timing together specific movements with whatever lift we're doing. Take a look at both the clips that I've shown. The load on the bar in both instances is lower than an actual opponent. So how is this building strength more rapidly than lifting an opponent on the mats? Sure, you can build power with submax loads, but you express way more power when you're actually launching and throwing an opponent because there's projection of the load rather than in these clips where the bar is brought to a voluntary stop. And even if both of these statements were true, that you're somehow building strength and power with these movements, and you're not, adding in footwork adds nothing to the equation. Both of these guys already know how to move their feet when they wrestle, and all this is doing is distracting them from getting into good position for the exercise, which reduces the output, lessening the stimulus, reducing how much strength and power and adaptation are getting out of the exercise. Once again, if you want to do parterre, do it against a live human being, pick them up and launch them, maybe into a crash mat if necessary. But if you want to get strong and powerful, pick a general exercise, like a deadlift or a clean respectively, load that fucker up, get into good positions, and focus on technique and moving the bar with max intent and nothing else. Don't worry about being specific. May the comments about how these are world-class wrestlers and I never did shit in the sport begin.
You may enlighten me.